Hey everyone! Oh, good old Friday the 13th today. My live today is about Friday the 13th, on Friday the 13th. So if you're there and when you do come on, I would just love for you to comment. I'd love for you to ask me some questions that I could try to answer for you today regarding this really auspicious day. Yes, it happened many years ago for me, understanding the energy. If you are watching the replay, I would love for you to comment replay so I can see who was live online with me and who's watching the replay. So Friday the 13th, it's a very auspicious day. It's a very ominous energy. When I hear of Friday the 13th, I get excited. I get really excited. So I'm just going to sit for a moment. And I want you all to be okay that I am okay. My voice may sound very croaky. I have had laryngitis over the last 10 days. But the last 4 or 5 days, my voice has come back. I know I should rest my voice, but hey, people who know me know that I am a communicator. And communication, speaking, is how I evolve in the world and how things change in my life. I don't know what happened then, it just paused itself, so let's just continue. So, Friday the 13th, here we go. We all hear Friday the 13th being spoken of as a negative, as an eerie, wooey energy. We hear it being spoken of like, Black Friday, Friday the 13th, dark, dismal times. We also know that Friday the 13th has been labelled as the witching hour or the witching day, which is true, but in a good way, in a positive way, that's what I will say. So, Friday the 13th, most people understand it with not a good energy. And I'm going to share with you that Friday the 13th is the most beautiful, powerful energy. All right. The reason that Friday the 13th was labelled as the witching hour or the witching day was because many years ago in many countries, women would get together of the town and they would come together on Friday the 13th and they would hold a circle, and that in that circle their energy would raise, their energy would become stronger, and in that time they became very intuitive, they became visionaries, and they were able to see through and beyond the veil of illusion. And in that, they were able to conjure up energy for healing. They would help each other because each woman in the group, there would be 13 women that would gather on this very auspicious day. When the women gathered, each one had a different gift. And when they came together, they would talk about their gifts. They would create healing balms, and potions, lotions. They would work with natural instincts, with nature. And the women, when they got together on Friday the 13th, became powerful energy sources for healing purposes. Now, these energy sources that they created were not known to many people. And so a lot of people in the townships, and I will say this, especially the men, the masculine, did not understand how are you healing? It must be a trick. it must be evil. It doesn't go, it goes against the law of religion. That you think that you are the God, that you are going against the God that religion suggested that we all listen to, and you are doing this by yourself. It has to be evil if it is against the religion. So the women in these groups on Friday the 13th, they started to be condemned. They weren't allowed to join together. They had to secretly do it over time. Otherwise, they would be labelled as heretics. And a heretic is someone who differs from the established religion or doctrine. It is differing from the official popular opinion. Now, this is where politics came in to it right back then, many centuries ago, where the masculine ruled, where the masculine started to feel powerless, with the women standing up. More people in society, in the groups, in the townships, in the tribes, would go to the healing women, to the circle of the 13 women who actually could help them not be controlled, but given them opportunity to be different, to live life differently. And unfortunately, the rule of doctrine was created by the masculine. The masculine then became powerless to control this situation. And so they started to label it, and they started to say no to it. No to natural healing. I want you to listen to what I'm saying and see if your mind can apply it to what's happening today in our day and age. So, back then, Friday the 13th, the women getting together, they then would be labelled. And they were called witches and heretics. In fact, most of them were labelled a heretic. And here was where the Inquisition started. And the Inquisition, oh my gosh, the Inquisition would question these people, these women, but they didn't even come to a conclusion that they would just make them suffer. They would burn them at the stake and say, no, you are evil. That is going against the doctrine of religion. So Friday the 13th was labelled as the witch's hour. It was given a bad energy, a negative connotation. Now, let me just share something. If you have a look at the number 13, so there were 13 women on the 13th day gathering together. They would make healing salves, balms, lotions to help the society, to help the community. Natural ways, going into nature, picking all the herbs, creating them, mulling them over, using the grinders and putting their natural, beautiful intuition and their visions of how they became so open and so aligned with cosmic energy, as above, so below, because they were using the herbs of the earth and the universal consciousness was guiding them. Now, the reason that the 13th came into play was, if you look at it in numerology, the number 13 is the number 4. What is the 4th chakra in the human system? The heart. So what this is saying, that Friday the 13th was where the heart opened. Friday the 13th is where we open up. And how we do that? As women open their hearts. Why? Because this is the healing point. The heart is the healing point in everything we do. We have to heal the pain in the heart. We have to connect through our heart. We have to understand what the heart is showing us. This is why Friday the 13th became such a powerful, beautiful, auspicious day. And then labelled heretics and witches. and closed down and told, no, you can't do that because it goes against the religion of society, of what the masculine created. So the powerless energy of the masculine started to put the feminine down, to say, no, you have to be put in your place, that you can't do this work that we said only God can do. But here is the confusion, that God is within us, that God is the source within our heart. That when women connect deeply into their heart center, what they give the world is wholeness, is oneness, is the truth of God, is where that energy comes from. So here we are, women come together. They were healers. They were natural beings of energy. They knew where to go and get the healing herbs and the plants from. Then the losing power of the masculine started to put it down. You know, when we go back to the heart chakra and I look at that, the number 4 to me is always about a foundation, so it's strength. So when the heart is connected, when the 13 women would get together, pardon me, this brought so much inner strength in. You know, the women became so powerful, all right? The women actually became so powerful because their strength, they supported each other and they supported the villagers, the people around the village. They were there to support in their healing natural way. So here's the number 4, when their hearts connected, when women come together in circle, when women go to retreats together, the energy is palpable. It is so powerful. Intuition comes through so quickly, quicker than you could ever imagine, because you have placed the pillars of strength as a foundation, all right? This is structure and this is support in a heartfelt way, which unfortunately most masculine energy doesn't know how to open to the heart of support. They use the intellect of support, the control of support. We are supporting you as a structure, politicians, governments, we are controlling you as a structure because we're going to help you, because we are the only one who can do this. Where women went, no, all of us can do this together as a collective. We want the heart to open to the masses. We want to help and guide. Hence, in this day and age, we have naturopaths. We have all our healing natural energy. And what's happening in society right now, and I'm going to say this, here comes something that comes into the human consciousness to again suppress the natural cycle of healing. The voice, here's my voice, gets taken from the feminine, gets put down again. All right, so I'm going to continue here. I have seen this happen many times over the centuries. One of the earliest, probably even before the witching season, was the story of Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene. Many in religion don't talk about this story, but many channelings that I have been experienced through and listening to other channelers, the energy of the Christ energy. Mary Magdalene, yes, she was the prostitute. She was there to support the masculine, and men of power came to see her. So in the beginning, Mary Magdalene's energy was very powerful, and she would sit and listen. So when the politics, the government agencies, the men who were in power and control would go to see her, her energy was so hot, which here we go, here's the 13. She was one of these 13 women in her life. She would open her heart to them, and she would allow them to download, to debrief, to speak to her, and then she would do what she had to do to pacify, to make it right, to make them feel that they were comforted, and then they would go back into their roles. Over time, the men started to talk and understood that most of them had been sharing very deep secrets of government with this woman, they started to feel out of control with her. That what if we have given her too much information? What if she will use that against us? What if it slips that I'm the one who told her that? It became very fearful for the masculine, all right? So they labelled her as the heretic, as the problem, as the one who had to get out of that system. And this is where the stoning of Mary Magdalene came from. That then Jesus came in and spoke and said, I can't remember exactly what those words are, but, you know, about he who has not sinned, you throw that stone. And no one could, because they know in every moment of their day they were sinning. So he rescued her, and she became a part of the collective known as the Essenes, those ones who held the secrets of Jesus. She followed and worshipped him because he saved her, and he saw the purity in her. He saw that she was the very powerful woman who worked from her heart center, the 13, the 4. So that's one story in our history. Then we look at all the, you know, Salem, the witches, the heretics, the burning at the stake, you know, the ones who were visionaries. It's so powerful. Women are visionaries. Let's be honest. We can see beyond the story. We intuitively can read and feel and understand things. Another culture that sits well with this is the Native American culture, way back before the Western society went into their energy field. The women were women of power. You thought, didn't see it as this, but most tribes would have what we call a moon lodge. Now, the moon lodge was when a woman would come into her menstrual cycle and she would go to the moon lodge. So when the woman was in her menstrual cycle, she was not asked to cook or clean or do the duties of the wife. That they knew that her energy could be so powerful that the energy of the woman in her menstrual cycle could actually destroy energy. I'm going to talk a bit more about that in a minute. That's how powerful women are. That you could destroy that energy of what has been created in the actual home, in all of that, because it's building and building with the menstrual cycle. So they were sent to the moon lodge. Now, what they would do is go into the moon lodge and they would actually sit and they would bleed back into Mother Earth. And when they were doing this, they were giving back to the earth what the earth would give them in food, in fodder, in animals, in skins, where we need to go. You know, they would become so in tune that they would go into altered states while in the moon lodge and they would get visions. So they were the visionaries of the tribes. So they were intuitive, they were visionaries. They saw through the illusion, all right? That's what a visionary does, sees through the illusion of what's right in front of them and sees beyond that wall. Now, when they saw this, they would go back to the chief and they would share where the animals would, where the buffalo are for the next season, where as nomads they had to travel to. They were the ones who actually would give that information. That's how powerful the women were. You know, when you get 13 women together, I remember many years ago, in a healing center we did a few Native American sweat lodges, and one of them was an amazing, it was for the 13 grandmothers. And 13 grandmothers is a sequence of the moon cycles. So the 13 grandmothers are named certain energy, certain emotional fields, and we would get 13 women together. We would only take 13 women into the moon lodge, into our sweat lodge. And the power and the energy that would happen in that was amazing. All right. So women of power we are, women of substance. The masculine finds that when we are alive, when we are on point, when we are intuitive, when we hold our essence, when we know who we are, then we will go into nature, we will pull that energy in, and we can share that energy with each other. The heart opens up of humanity, and the women of substance can go and step in and do the work they need to do. But unfortunately, still in this day and age, it can be classed as the heretics of this day. No, you're not working under the laws of the government. You know, we're not getting a part of that big pharma. You know, you're doing it naturally. Where is the control? It's happening all around us. It's just labeled something different. So, women of substance, I will tell you that one of the things that really hit me was, how long ago was it? Let me think. I think it was the first time I went to India, probably 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago now. Can't remember. But the first time I went to India to follow my lineage, I was in this really small ashram north of Delhi. It was just, 4 or 5 people. It was a Kali devotee, which is my lineage. And in that, I was there a few days, wasn't due my period at all. Sorry, all you men who are listening to this, but this is what you need to understand how powerful women are. I got my period. Oh, of course, in India. Wow, what do I do here in the middle of nowhere? I'm starting a period, and I had to, my husband says to me, so what are you going to do, honey? You need to soak it up. And I said, yeah, see that white polo shirt you're wearing? I said, I'm going to cut that up. And he laughed. He goes, no. I said, yes, I am. So I did, and I had to use that. But the next day, I had to go to the small ashram that had been built on this land in the little town that we were in. And as we were walking there, my teacher and the person who was running the ashram at the time, they both looked at me, the men, these are men, and they said to me, you can't enter today. And I never told anyone I had my period, right? And they said, what? I said, what? What do you mean? They said, you have your menses. And I was like, how did you know? And they said, we can feel the palpitation of the energy coming off you. I was like, oh my gosh. And they said, it's not a bad thing. But your energy systems are so strong right now that one little thought or one little movement from you may blow the systems that have been set in the ashram. And I went, really? And they said, yes, women don't realize their power. And they were honoring me. Not going, oh, you're negative and you're bad and you can't come in. They were honoring, knowing the power that I was holding at that time. And I really felt humbled, and I was like, oh my God, thank you. So I have photos of me sitting on a little box outside while they're all in there meditating, and I did my worship outside. I could put it into atmosphere because the Earth Mother would take that energy and place it everywhere. So this is the power of women. And I really, really felt that when I was there. They honored me. I was traveling for 2 weeks around India with 5 dark-skinned men, including my husband. I was the only woman and the only white woman. And they honored me, and they knew the power of the feminine. They worship that. Hence, Ma Kali is their worship. All right. So yes, Friday the 13th, it is not a bad omen. It is not a negative time. I want you all to truly understand the power of 13, what we're doing here. Now, what is an inquisition? It's opposing a belief. Even heretics back in the day, if they opposed the belief of the government, they were burnt at the stake. Even before, there was no trial. The Inquisition was questioning, why have you done that? You shouldn't have done that. What they wanted to brainwash you in an Inquisition so that you would admit to your faults and your wrongs, and then they wanted to hear that you would follow them and be good. That's what an Inquisition did. But in that, the moment you admitted to a wrong, they were like, right, we're going to burn you at the stake. We're going to drown you. We're going to ostracize you. We're going to prove to the world that that was wrong. So an Inquisition, they suspected heresy and they were burned at the stake because they opposed the belief of the masculine, of the government systems, what it should look like. All right. One more I'm going to talk about here. And seriously, if I was living back in that day and age, and I know I have lived in that day and age, and I know I have been burnt at a stake. In fact, most powerful, and I'm not just saying I'm powerful, but most women who hold their energy and are strong and are healers and work the energy systems and really want to help in society through that level, they have probably been in the Inquisition, and they have probably been burnt at a stake, because in the beginning, most of us in this generation now, we were too scared to speak up, hence communication issues. I came in as a 5 life path, which is all about throat chakra, which is all about communication, because I knew I had to get this out. I had to help women to help themselves. I had to show them the power and the truth and the beauty and the vulnerability of beauty of the woman, you know, to be able to speak up. But we all started off maybe 30 years ago with a little bit of intimidation, a little bit of, oh, is anyone going to believe me? So we had to work through the throat energy. And here we are this year, the 5 year, I'm a 5 in a 5 year. This is all about the truth. It's about speaking it, talking about it, helping humanity change their beliefs so that we are not classed or labeled and told that we cannot heal naturally, and told that we are not allowed to gather together to create power. Oh my gosh. And I could go on another tangent there, and I bet all of you can hear where that goes. Anyway, so one more I want to talk about, and this is another past life. So I'm talking about my past lives. One of them was I was a healer and I was burnt at the stake. Another past life, I was in a Native American in the Lakota Sioux tribe, and I was a squaw and I was a healer. So I know that energy well. And this one is going to be very interesting. I had a past life with Egypt, 14th dynasty, and I never even knew this existed until I opened a book and there it was, but that's a whole nother story. Akhenaten was the king in the 14th dynasty. Akhenaten was challenged because Akhenaten was labeled a heretic in his time. Why? Because he challenged the established religion. What Akhenaten did in this, and it's so interesting that this was the dynasty that I had a past life in, Akhenaten challenged the law of many gods. Egypt had many gods, remember? He was the first king who brought it back to one God, the sun god. He was labeled a heretic, that cannot be, that there cannot be this oneness, this wholeness. The hierarchy was saying no, it's individual, it's separated, it's the hierarchy of separation, which were masculine. You have to look at the masculine gods. You have to worship lots of masculine so that you are controlled as masses of people. You bring it to one, control goes. Because Akhenaten showed that this one God, the sun god, was within us. That was how it changed. And this was the change in Egyptian law. I love it. I've had so much with Akhenaten in this lifetime, even to the point of 5 or 6 years after that I came here to Brisbane and I met a Native American elder called Grey Wolf, who was a direct descendant of Akhenaten. And we met in this life. boy, that's another whole story. So Friday the 13th, everyone, I hope you have a different perspective on it. Don't look negatively at it. And all you women out there, oh my gosh, all you women, use your power, be wise, stand up, be who you truly are. And I want to share before I go today that I am hosting my last retreat for 2021. It will be the end of October. I think it starts the October the 22nd to 25th. 3 nights down the Gold Coast here in Brisbane. And it is called The Grace of the Feminine. Now this retreat we will be having, it'd be interesting if I could get 13 women to that. Now that would be amazing. I'm going to put that one out to spirit, but there will be 10 to 12 of us, but I'm going to put out, I want 13 now. And women coming together, and we are going to work in energy. We are going to open up our energy systems. We are going to connect and really understand that powerful, intuitive visionaries that we truly are. If you would love to join me, please comment or private message me and I will send you through the details. We are halfway booked, so there are only 5 to 6 places left. But please, if you want to join us, become your own visionary as a woman. Start to own your power. Take back your power. Be that beautiful in a positive way, not a negative way. So please come and join me. End of October 2021, the Grace of the Feminine Retreat. Love to have you there. Love and blessings to you all. I have absolutely loved sharing this with you. Please comment below if you've loved this live, what you got from this live, and if you would like to join me in the Women's Retreat the end of October. Love and blessings. Have an amazing Friday afternoon and a great weekend. Bye.